Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are not new, and welcome if you are. My name is Tiana, and if you have no idea who I am, you have no idea who this girl is on your screen. Pretty much, to keep a long story short, I like to yap about things that I feel like we're not yapping enough about, so therefore I will do the honors and I'll do the yapping. It's pretty much the gist. And I know y'all haven't seen me in, what was the last video? Excuse me? It's been 34 days? I thought it was gonna be like 17. Wow, that's terrible. So it's been a minute since you've seen my face, and I got really cute and dolled up to make for it and distract you guys from my month-long absence. Is it working? Is it working? Are you still mad? Don't be mad. Please don't be mad at me. Today I have an interesting topic. Y'all know how I get down. A lot has been going on since the last time we got on here and we were chit-chatting. We had a Victoria's Secret comeback fashion show. And you know, with the territory being a bunch of different models and Victoria's Secret being such a name brand and global name, you had all eyes on these models and different people, and everybody were commenting on the different body types and Tyra and Tyla and everybody in between. Then we had Lizzo, who recently started sharing her fitness journey and her dramatic weight loss journey.
And that led me on a journey to figure out how animal proteins affect my body. After tests and research, I found that animal proteins helped me have more energy, lose weight, and helped with my mental fog.
After basically making her weight a core part of her brand. A lot of people were super excited for her, and a lot of people felt not so happy about the switch up. And then we had influencers going viral for calling out brands for not being inclusive enough with their sizing, and other influencers trying to demand that all airlines have more inclusive rules and regulations for plus size people.
Target, let me give you a style tip. If you're gonna so inconsiderately suggest that people go up a size or two, at least have the sizes, and not just online, also in store. Now, I don't know who told y'all that was a good idea, but y'all need to either fix that sign or fix your sizes. Hopefully both.
So many of you have asked me which airlines you should completely avoid if you're plus size, and the first one on my list is American Airlines. So here are the reasons why I wouldn't fly with American Airlines. Their seats tend to be on the smaller size, and there's like horror stories of plus size people being like dragged off their planes, and that just isn't happening for me. The next airline that I avoid as a plus size person is United Airlines. Their seating is just a little bit smaller, again, kind of like American Airlines. And another airline that I avoid as a plus size traveler is Hawaiian Airlines, and let me tell you why. They reserve the right to not board or not transport a plus size passenger if the flight is full and they need a second seat. So that's why I would avoid them.
And although those influencers do have their audience that supports them, they tend to get a lot of backlash for these bold kind of statements and requests. So it makes me ask the question, the $1 million question, is being fat unhealthy again? Is that what's going on? And what exactly does that mean for the body positivity movement? And are people having the epiphany that, although loving yourself is important, maybe loving your health should be equally, if not more important? Let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about the history of the body positivity movement, how it started with the best intentions, as well as why and where it might have gone a little bit left, as well as why does it seem like Western civilization has such a different relationship with food as opposed to other parts of the world and other cultures.
Every time I go to America, I dread that experience. In 1 week, I put on a pound. If I spend 2 weeks in the United States, even if I'm eating the exact same foods I'm eating here in Europe, I put on a pound a week. When I come back to Europe, I immediately start shedding weight. Here in Europe, I drink very little. I eat a ton of bread. I love carbs. I love the pasta here. I do not put on weight. As soon as I set foot in any state in the United States, I start getting bloated.
Why is it that we tend to normalize unhealthy eating habits? The body positivity movement, it started as a response to rigid and very narrow beauty standards, initially gaining its traction in the 1960s. And at that time, society celebrated very specific body types, typically tall, thin, skinny, and mostly very unattainable standards. And body positivity essentially aimed to break down these barriers by promoting diversity and self-acceptance, encouraging people to love themselves despite societal pressures to look a certain way or fit into a certain box when it comes to your body.
Retouching? Never.
We're all perfectly imperfect.
Body positivity? Always and forever.
The authentic and real us.
Girl power? We're sisters through thick and thin.
Let's get real.
Let's be real. Believe real. Focus on how you feel.
Forget what other people say.
You are enough exactly as you are.
And it was an important movement for marginalized bodies. The girls like me with the stretch marks and the hip dips and the bigger build. Not saying I'm big, but like, girl, I'll never be a size 2. I'll never be a size 2. Whether you were one of the thicker girls, whether you had a disability, or just didn't fit the mainstream mold at all. And back then, and for a while, it was literally just normal bodies. Like, having normal bodies and normal things happening to your bodies, especially as women, the stretch marks and the hip dips and the cellulite, none of that was seen as mainstream and accepted. So it was a good movement. It started off really cutesy. It started off really great. But as we'll see, the movement has evolved in ways that sometimes it strays away from these original intentions, and sometimes it could just overall just contradict them altogether.
Body positivity is toxic because it pretends to be rooted in compassion and kindness. But in reality, it encourages women to engage in very destructive behaviors. It encourages women to be obese, unhealthy, and be averse to personal responsibility and discipline. It's the inherent nature of body positivity. It is, at its core, toxic, emotionally manipulative, dishonest movement that only wreaks havoc on women. Lizzo and every other proponent of the body positivity and fat acceptance movement are the perfect examples of the mean girl. Body positivity downright lies to women, and it makes obesity sound like it's good for them. Body positivity movement has now resulted in magazine covers that actually says this is healthy. The lifestyle of being obese is now not only beautiful, but it's healthy.
And we've seen that in another movement, feminism. That's my next video. Anyways, back to body positivity. And that tends to happen over time. You start these movements with the best intentions, and then generations down the line, you have people who just kind of take it out of line and completely blur the entire vision of the movement and the purpose of the movement, and then they just jumble it and then they mess it up for everybody. So over time, the body positivity movement shifted from promoting diversity and empowerment to now a lot of the times glorifying unhealthy lifestyles. We're going there. We're going there. Yeah, we are. But now we see that there are instances today where unhealthy lifestyle habits and choices, particularly those that do contribute to obesity, are normalized under the guise of body positivity and self-love. And this shift from the original intent of the body positivity movement, it can have serious consequences. It blurs the lines between acceptance and health. And while confidence in your body is absolutely important, and I do believe it is necessary, the risks of obesity, including diabetes, heart disease, and mental health struggles, those parts of the equation can't be left out of the conversation. And scientific research continuously and repeatedly shows that being significantly overweight increases these risks. And none of this is new. We've been hearing all these things since we were kids in PE class. These things have been drilled into us. This is not news. But that brings us to the point that being comfortable in your skin is important, but taking care of your health and doing things that genuinely make you comfortable in your skin, those are important too. Victoria's Secret is a prime example. The brand was once the pinnacle of beauty standards with all the thin and tall angels, as they call them and as we know them as. Eventually, they started to face a lot of backlash for being out of touch a little bit with the broader cultural push for inclusivity. We all remember back in COVID or a little bit pre-COVID, the body positivity blew up. So in response, Victoria's Secret brought in their model base and marketing to include more diverse body types, including plus size as well as transgender models.
One of America's largest lingerie retailers, Victoria's Secret, is rebranding, trying to lure women back. So they're getting rid of the scantily clad angels with the giant wings and the Barbie bodies, as well as the rhinestones and the feathers. So instead, this is what they're going to do. They're replacing them with women famous for their achievements, okay? Like Priyanka Chopra, Jonas, and Megan Rapinoe, who will host podcasts and marketing material. They'll be talking with a diverse group of women, including a South Sudanese and Australian model, a freestyle skier, a Brazilian transgender model, a plus-size model, and a journalist. The women form what they're calling the VS Collective.
Online urging Victoria's Secret to include the first transgender lingerie model in their fashion show this year.
She's stunning with the perfect bombshell body.
Carmen
Carrera.
Modelo se llama Carmen Carrera.
Got to fame as a contestant on the reality show RuPaul's Drag Race. And after the show, Carmen fully transitioned into a woman.
She's gorgeous. There's no reason why you should keep her from being a Victoria's Secret model.
An online campaign started by fans to put her into the show with some of the world's top supermodels has raked up over 23,000 signatures.
35,000 people strong on it.
Ya tiene más de 40,000 firmas.
More than 40,000 signatures.
How does it feel to be the center of so much attention, Carmen? And how did you feel when you heard about this Victoria's Secret's petition? All these people who want you to be the first, I guess, transgender angel.
Huge. I was just like overwhelmed.
However, this shift, it definitely backlashed. And instead of revitalizing the brand, sales plummeted. And consumers saw this rebrand as desperate and an insincere attempt to appeal to the masses.
To me, it seems like Victoria's Secret want to reap all of the benefits of being an inclusive brand without actually putting in the legwork. And it begs the question, would they have made these changes if they weren't losing money?
Victoria's Secret for decades had built its brand around a very specific ideal of beauty. Assuming you guys are around my age, 23 to like 26, go back to high school, go back to middle school. If you heard Victoria's Secret model, you have a specific image in your head. So Victoria's Secret is known to market their brand by using specific women with specific features. So abandoning that so quickly as they did, it alienated the core audience, lost its appeal a bit without attracting a meaningful new audience.
Here's my hot take that nobody asked for. Victoria's Secret, much like an Abercrombie, for decades has drilled into us that their brand identity is tied to a certain look. And suddenly they're like, oh, you know, all that we said all those years and spent, I don't know, millions of dollars advertising about? Never mind. We think everyone is beautiful. And I've seen some takes that suggest that this 180 is because of the inclusivity police and public pressure. But one thing that I know, brands don't change unless the bag does. They had been losing market share for years. Suddenly, there's plus size models, an adaptive line for women with disabilities. I don't believe you.
This was not an isolated event. Abercrombie & Fitch also struggled with a similar backlash after they expanded their size ranges and tried to pivot to a more inclusive message. While this did earn some praise, the brand still suffered from its past reputation of exclusivity, and the changes did not result in sales or the brand loyalty that they had hoped for. So the takeaway here is that not all efforts of being inclusive are successful, especially if it comes off as performative and it just directly conflicts with the brand's original identity. Obviously, obviously as a brand, you want to attract as much people as possible, but there are some brands who market to a specific group of people. And when you branded your product to those specific types of people since the beginning of your existence, suddenly changing that because you want to broaden your profit margin, yeah, it's a little insane. And hot take, okay? Tiana's hot take. A brand is not obligated to be inclusive. Not all brands benefit off inclusivity. Not all brands should be required to be inclusive. Inclusivity is not a right all brands have to everybody. I think it's up to the brand to read the room as far as the industry that they're in and make that decision for themselves. And if they're like, no, this is our niche, this is the type of people we want to market to, that's what we're going to do. But I think people tend to forget, with every single brand, there was an individual or a group of individuals who had a certain mission before they started this brand. Those people are not obligated to go outside of their mission and their intent for their brand to accommodate everybody. Everything isn't made for everyone, but there is something for everyone. It feels like we've reached a point in society where a lot of people just expect brands to cater to them, regardless of who that brand is marketed to or niched for, even if it goes against the brand's original message and their vision. And like I said, the reality is not every brand was made for everyone, and that is okay. Like, that is okay. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Y'all get what I'm saying? And like I said before, I feel like people forget because these sometimes brands can just be so successful where people don't remember that every single brand started off with one or two people that had a mission, and then they created this business. If I have a restaurant and I only want to sell meat, it's probably because I'm passionate about cooking meals centered around meat and I want to share that with other people like me. If I'm creating a brand because I want to make shoes for women or men with bigger feet, it's probably because I have bigger feet and I know the experience of going somewhere and I can't find a shoe that fits my foot. So I want to make a product for people who relate to me. That's fine. If I want to make scrunchies because I'm a girl that loves braids, but I can never find scrunchies that fit these braids, and I want to make a brand for women who also likes braids just as much as me and who has these same problems, that is fine. Like, a brand does not have to change their mission to cater to you to be inclusive. There's a brand for everything. You can quite literally find something for everybody. There is something for everybody, but not everything is for everyone. Clock it.
Boy, if you don't...
Marketing wise, it is great to be as inclusive as you can, especially with the market. I've said that 2 times before because I really need y'all to get it. Like, I get why inclusivity will benefit a brand. I get it. Sometimes that does not always work. If I have a restaurant and I'm selling only meat, my customers are actually going to be looking at me crazy when the next campaign ad is about veggie burgers. They're going to be like, wait, what's this? You know, as someone who owns a business as well, you can lose that brand loyalty when you make such a drastic change, because then your core audience no longer feels like you're marketing for just them. They no longer feel that connection to you, like, oh, this brand is just for me. They see me. When you start to kind of branch off from the original intent, you can lose the value as a business owner and as a brand and as a company. And a lot of people don't think about that aspect of it. And I'm very grateful that, like, I have both experience as a consumer as well as the business owner end, and I can kind of see those things. Brands have purposes, they have missions, they have visions, they have intent, and I don't feel like a brand that only wants to target to a specific group of people, I don't feel like they should change their mission, their vision, or their intent so someone could sleep better at night. I ain't doing it. You just do it. The only time I think a brand has to be inclusive is when they're excluding people for characteristics that people have no control over. Your skin color, your height, people with disabilities, as well as your size. And I'm going to explain that a little bit more, because I'm probably just like, oh, what do you mean size? People can change their size. Isn't that what this whole video is about? You know what I'm saying? But there are some people who will never be a size 2, not because they don't want to eat healthy, not because they don't work out, but genetically, sometimes people are just naturally a little bit, what do they say over here? Bigger? I don't want to say bigger, but in Jamaica we say a big bone. Like, you just, the density of your bones, just like, they will never give size 0 or 2, and that is okay. That is okay. Like, it's been other than like things that people cannot change about themselves otherwise, forcing inclusivity can sometimes feel out of place and insincere, and people will clock it very quick. In 2024, the girls will talk and the girls will check you. Now, if you cannot fit in a plain sheet because you've made overeating a birthright, and then demanding for airlines to make plus size friendly seats, no, that's crazy. No, that's crazy. Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy.
As a plus size traveler myself, I'm speaking on behalf of myself and plus size travelers everywhere who have also experienced discomfort and discrimination while traveling. We are calling on the FAA to require that all airlines implement a clear customer size policy. This policy should include clear guidelines on accommodating larger passengers. Travelers of size often face physical discomfort and health risks when forced to occupy only one seat on an airplane. This petition is not just about free seats for travelers of size. It's about creating a more inclusive and accessible environment for all.
So my height being 5'10", being that I cannot control how tall I am, I have to thug it out with my knees hurting because I'm squinched up like this. They're pushing their foot on my chair. This person's leaning back. I'm like this. I gotta deal with it for the whole 2 hours of the ride, but you get a complimentary seat because you're excessively fleshy? You're diabolically big? My 40-pound luggage is three pounds overweight. Now I gotta pay extra $75, but you get a complimentary seat? Are we okay? Are we okay? Have we lost it? And I think it just goes to show how broad the unhealthy side of the body positivity movement has gotten to now, where airlines are giving plus size men and women extra seats because of their weight.
Here's how to fly with an extra seat for free with Southwest's customer of size policy. First option is to purchase an additional seat ahead of time and call after the flight to get it refunded. You'll do this by purchasing an additional ticket that's almost identical to the first one, but you add XS in the middle name to denote it's an extra seat. You could also call customer service to have them book the tickets for you. The second option is to ask a customer service agent for an additional seat once you're at your departure gate. You'll run the risk of the flight being full for this one, but it won't cost you anything out of pocket. Happy and comfortable flying.
And I'm not saying that because you're plus size, you should be excluded from certain things. But what I am saying is if you're excluded out of certain things because of something that you can't control and you're choosing not to control it, and now you're trying to make something become impractical, now everybody else that's following the rules has to accommodate you. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, that's crazy. Now let's dig into why societal and cultural perceptions about weight and attractiveness are so deeply ingrained. Research shows that, and again, a lot of what I'm saying is not new. These are things that we've known since we were all born, but I'm just gonna back it up with actual research, so y'all don't think I'm just being mean, but I can just say research says and go on like that. So research shows that physical attractiveness is often linked to evolutionary biology. Human beings are biologically wired to associate certain physical traits like symmetry and clear skin, and yes, a certain body weight with health and fertility. And the beauty standard and the beauty and the weight body positivity conversations are always touchy because somebody is going to be offended. But in all actuality, the reality is we live in a world where your outward presentation, it matters. People do associate certain physical and outward things to who you are character-wise. It's not good. I don't think it's great, but it is the truth and it is the reality. I don't intend to say anything in this video that you don't know to be true, we haven't heard before, and isn't backed up by any facts. In terms of body weight, both men and women are biologically kind of wired to look for partners who display signs of health, which historically have included leaner bodies. Now, from an evolutionary standpoint, body fat beyond a certain point can signal potential health problems or limited fertility, and that's just the fact. Now, I do preface this, and I want to say that I do understand that different things cause people to overeat and pick up on unhealthy habits. But before you go in the comments, you're like, actually, there's some people who really can't eat. There's some people who go through. I know. I'm gonna get there. Hold your comment. Or comment it if you want to. Go ahead and comment, y'all. But yeah, I'm gonna get to it. For men, studies have shown that they tend to be more attracted to women with a certain waist to hip ratio. And when I was doing research, they were giving out numbers, and I don't know what these numbers mean. So it says waist to hip ratio of 0.7. I actually don't know what that is, and I feel like if I look it up, it might piss me off. So I'm gonna just say men do look for a woman with certain hip to waist ratio. We ain't gonna put a number on it. We just gonna say hip to waist ratio, which indicates fertility and lower risk for chronic diseases. There are some men who don't go for bigger women, not because they're not pretty or anything like that, but because obesity could mean later down the line there's gonna be health issues that they're gonna have to deal with. It might mean that there might be risk for pregnancy that later down the line when they try to start a family. Like, there's different things that men assume from your weight, and although I know it's not good to assume anything about anybody, we live in a physical world. Like I said, people are going to make assumptions based off how you present yourself outwardly.
I balloon, not because you're not gorgeous, not because some men can't hold space for your emotions, but for me, it was the weight loss. And while we are all proud of you for losing the weight, I am considering the risk long term. You may have health problems down the line that we may have to work with. And the habits that you've developed over time are going to be challenging to upkeep in your 40s and 50s and 60s. So for me, I'm concerned about your health over a long period of time.
And the ugly part about all of this is whether your weight is in your control or was out of your control, people don't know you and strangers don't owe you understanding. I know it sounds but a person doesn't have to try to rationalize your obesity. And like I said, I know there are people who cannot help it. I know there are people who pick up unhealthy habits because of things that happen in life. I get it, but it doesn't change the fact that people are gonna make assumptions. I know it sounds crazy. I know you all are gonna be like, actually, how could you say that? Because women, sorry. Now, women, on the other hand, we tend to be attracted to men that display signs of physical health and strength. Y'all know that TikTok trend, I wanna be boy, I wanna be boy. Yeah. Pretty much what SZA was saying. We want a big boy, like, we do. There was another trend where it was like, she don't want no puppy, she want a big dog. Same thing, women like men that are, and not all women, nothing that I'm saying in this video is trying to put a group of people as a monolith. Women aren't a monolith, men aren't a monolith, people that are overweight aren't a monolith. Everybody has their thing. Everyone's attracted to different things. I'm more so talking in a general sense, okay? So let's all reel it in. I'm not talking about you specifically if it doesn't relate. I'm talking about maybe generally, And often these traits that we look for in men as women, they're represented by muscle mass and a low to moderate body fat percentage. Need you big? I just don't want you big. You big enough? Okay. Now, research from the journal Evolution and Human Behavior suggests that these preferences from both men and women, they stem from a deep-rooted biological instinct that associates certain physical features with reproductive success as well as survival. Back in the day, nobody was big. We had to hunt. We had to stay fit. And of course, these biological instincts, it doesn't necessarily excuse societal pressures, but they do help explain why certain body types are often perceived as more attractive or healthier. Now, beyond biology, right, our societal structure, it reinforces the idea that conventionally attractive or fit people are viewed more favorably. Studies also show that physically fit individuals are often perceived as more disciplined, successful, trustworthy, employable, and even more intelligent, which I can understand, but it's kind of crazy. And this is known as the halo effect.
Did you know that the halo effect can be the master key to improving your life in many ways? Let me explain what it is and how it can benefit you. The halo effect is a psychological phenomenon whereby the overall perception of a person can be influenced by a single positive quality, such as physical appearance. Basically, if you look good, people tend to assume that you also possess other desirable qualities such as intelligence, ability, and honesty. Now, imagine the power of using the halo effect to your advantage in job interviews, social relationships, and even your love life. Improving your physical appearance can open doors, giving you an edge in many situations.
Where people attribute positive traits to someone simply because they appear attractive. In the workplace, I'm going to be saying a lot of research shows and for the next section, but in the workplace, research published in the Psychological Bulletin found that more attractive individuals are more likely to be hired, earn higher salaries, and get promoted faster than those deemed less attractive. And think about it, right? Like when you go to a job interview, you want to put on your best, right? You want to put on a little bit of foundation to even out your skin a little bit because you don't want all the imperfections showing on a Zoom camera, because what is about a Zoom camera? Like, why are you highlighting all my pimples? Like, everybody calm down, everybody relax. It's not even that bad. Y'all just make it look really bad on this screen. Like, it's not that bad. Anyways, you have a job interview. You try to put on a little bit of foundation or concealer. You put your hair back. You do your eyebrows a little bit. You put on a nice blouse. You might have an earring. Like, you dress the part, right? Because we know subconsciously that when you present yourself in a certain way, certain assumptions are going to be made and certain doors will open if you're perceived a certain way and certain doors will close if you're perceived another way.
Wombology? The study of wombo? It's first grade, SpongeBob.
And similarly, in social settings, physically fit individuals are often assumed to just be more confident and more capable, whether or not these traits are actually true. And this societal bias plays a role in how brands market themselves. Companies like Lululemon or Gymshark, they target audiences who associate fitness with success as well as status. These brands cultivate images of health, vitality, and physical discipline, values that appeal to those who actively pursue a fit and healthy lifestyle. As a result, when these brands are pressured into including plus size, and I don't mean plus size like a 10, a 12, an XL, a 2XL, because like I said, our bodies are different things happen in our lives as women that just cause us to gain weight naturally. That's fine. That's the normal human woman female body. But when we're asking for 5, 6, 11X from a fitness brand, we have to then ask ourselves, have we lost the plot? Might we have lost the plot a little bit, just a little bit?
So here's my take on the whole Gymshark controversy happening right now. As someone who is big, has been big their entire lives, also goes to the gym, and is also on a weight loss journey. If you don't know, Gymshark posted a picture of this girl named Lauren, and her body is sickening. It is beautiful. And a lot of comments thought it was AI or that it was photoshopped, but then they show that Lauren actually looks like that in real life. Now, for me personally, when brands, especially gym wear brands, post bodies like this, it does not make me insecure as a person, simply because I am of the volition that all bodies deserve to be celebrated and all bodies deserve to be welcome in the gym. It was really great when Gymshark included plus size people. I know a lot of people didn't, but I thought it was really awesome. And when they post people like this who are just absolutely shredded, I think they also deserve to be celebrated and shown on the brand. Like, it is an activewear, gymwear, bodybuilding brand. Of course they're gonna promote people that are shredded, look a certain type of physique. It's kind of common sense. And I also think they should show plus size people who are also in the gym, because the gym, in my opinion, is for everybody. And so if you're someone who looked at that and automatically thought it was fake or Photoshop, that's one thing, but to then say that they shouldn't be showing her at all because it promotes unrealistic beauty standards, it takes someone an extreme amount of discipline to get that body. A little bit of genetics, but mostly discipline and hard work. That person deserves to be celebrated just as much as me for losing 5 pounds deserves to be celebrated. Someone who has achieved their dream physique also deserves to be celebrated.
So yeah, when brands like Lululemon and Gymshark get pressured into including body sizes that don't align with the mission or their core audience, it can create tension in their message and the overall profitability of their brand in the long run. Because they're kind of stepping away from the people that they initially started marketing to and the people that kept their business up afloat to try to make everybody happy. When you initially didn't start trying to make everybody happy. You're just doing it as a money grab. If you want to include people of a different size, start that way. But when you start a specific way and then you try to branch out, like far out, yeah, people aren't really going to be like, yeah, I want to support the brand. They're just going to find another brand that aligns with them. And I know some people might counter argue with what I just said with what if they're, big, but they're actually trying to get fit and they want to buy Gymshark and they want to buy Lululemon. My response to that would be what I previously said, that there are brands for absolutely everything and everybody. They might not be as popular, but there are brands. If you look up a brand for X, Y, and Z, you're going to find something that pops up, or you're going to find something that tells you where to go to find that thing that you're looking for. And my solution would be to give your money to brands that cater to you. Give your money to brands that cater to your specific needs.
If a brand didn't like Filipinos, didn't cater to Filipino women, why would I go out of my way to make them cater to me and then give them money? And then give them a round of applause as if like overnight they just decided that they care about Filipinos. A lot of these brands are showing you their true colors. Let them. There are so many amazing brands out there now, especially with TikTok. I feel like every day I'm finding out about some new company. Give people that cared about you in the first place your money. And stop forcing people to include you that didn't want to include you in the first place.
And it's okay to thrive for something. It's okay to start in a certain position, admire something else that you want, and work your way up to that thing. The whole reason you want that thing in the first place is because everyone can't attain it. It's kind of why you get the appeal to that thing, a car, a house, a X, a Y, a Z, whatever it is. Your appeal to that thing is that it's not easily attained, right? It's okay to drive a Honda, and it's also okay to work hard and save up for the Benz. It's okay to thug it out in the rundown, one bedroom or roommate situation. Work hard and save up to get your dream home. It's okay to shop at the Rosses and the Burlingtons and the Macy's. Work hard, save up so you can shop in the Chanel, the Ferragamo, the Louis, the Fendi's. Like, it is okay to start one place and aspire to something. Fendi doesn't have to change their entire brand's identity because you can't afford it. A house isn't just gonna lower its price because you can't afford it. The Benz isn't just gonna lower the price because you can't afford it. It's okay to work hard to aspire to things, and that's not exclusive to your weight. If you are at a certain weight, I absolutely admire you for wanting better for yourself, for wanting to get fitter and wanting to get healthier. I absolutely love to see it. I love when the content pops up on my Instagram, my TikTok. I always interact with that type of content because I used to be there. I wouldn't say I was obese, but I was at a point in like 2021 where I did not necessarily love what I was seeing in the mirror, not because I didn't love myself, not because I hated myself, but because I know that where I am in this moment is because of a lack of discipline. It was cold when I was in the house, but still it doesn't change the fact that I was just eating and getting big. I could have went outside and jogged around my neighborhood. I could have been doing at-home workouts, but instead I chose not to do that. Therefore, I got my body to a point where I didn't like. It's okay to have those moments with ourselves to be like, I'm at a point right now where I don't necessarily love what I'm seeing. Let me try to do something and work up to where I want to be. So if you are a plus size girly who wants to be in a Lulu, or you want to be in a Gymshark and they don't have your size, I don't think you should villainize those brands for not including your size, because they still have to think about their core audience and their core message. But I say, like I said, give money to brands that cater to you and work up to a Lulu. It's gonna feel so good when you've worked hard enough and you see your work paying off and you're able to walk into that Lululemon and buy that set. I'm telling you, it's going to be a much better feeling when you work for something as opposed to if something's just given to you. I promise you. Brands that make inclusivity a part of their DNA from the very beginning, like Good American or Lane Bryant, they often succeed because they built their mission around body diversity. Brands, on the other hand, that just pivot because the body positivity movement is blowing up and now they need to get bigger sizes and they need to cater to do all this running around. Yeah, it can come off easily as disingenuous and fake. And people are not going to support it in 2024. People are not going to support what they do not believe in and what they think is fake. I'm telling you. Moreover, from a business standpoint, again, expanding size ranges or creating inclusive marketing campaigns is not always financially feasible for a brand. Producing clothes from a wider range of body types can be more expensive due to increased fabric use, pattern adjustment, and supply chain complexity. Brands need to carefully weigh and consider whether the push for inclusivity aligns with their business model. And like I said, in the perfect world, every brand would cater to everyone. If it's like a smaller brand, right, and a brand that doesn't have unlimited funds or money isn't too long, although it would be nice to include a 6XL or a 5XL into their size range, the average person is not that size. So if they're trying to make the same amount of clothing for the minority, they might lose money because it's not guaranteed to sell out as opposed to a small, a medium, a large, a XL, a 1XL. The average person isn't 5X and 6X. So if they're trying to make 50 of everything, they're going to lose money when they try to make more 5X and 6X because, again, there are more people who are certain sizes than others. And then even if you are a brand that does have a lot of money, a lot of times when it's coming from a disingenuous place, they tend to not really make their clothing to fit those body types that they're now all of a sudden trying to include. The patterns might be ugly, the way they make it might not fit your body type. You can literally tell that they're just putting out products to say, oh yeah, we're an inclusive brand. You know what I'm saying? The science is clear, and it has been clear, that obesity, it's linked to a number of serious health risks and concerns. Obesity increased risks of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and certain types of cancer, all of which are leading causes of preventable premature death.
All of the yellow that you see here is an example of what we call visceral fat. Visceral fat is the type of fat that surrounds and occasionally is even a part of the internal organs of the body. Now, it's normal to have visceral fat. We all want to have visceral fat. However, we can have too much visceral fat. And this particular body donor was obese. And that allows us to see an excessive accumulation of visceral fat, and you can likely imagine the consequences this can have on the body. The reason why visceral fat, or at least excessive amounts of it, is more problematic than excessive amounts of subcutaneous fat is because it's going to have consequences on the surrounding organs and tissues. So for instance, this is the heart, or rather the heart is underneath all of this visceral fat. So again, I think you can imagine that this is going to have a detrimental effect on the efficiency and effectiveness of the heart. Visceral fat, again, is good for you. It's necessary, but too much can put pressure and do quite detrimental things to many different structures inside of the body.
Right now, mukbangs are very, very popular. And a lot of the times, this normalization of overeating and overconsumption, it normalizes those unhealthy eating habits. You know, there's a lot of very obese mukbangers who make money because people might genuinely like their content. Like I enjoy watching people like B Loves Life. Like I've been watching her for a minute, her and her family, and I love when they do the sit down videos and they talk. But when we watch people who are literally obese eat themselves to death, or eat themselves into sickness, or eat themselves into immobility, we have to then ask ourselves as the people watching this, are we okay? I am literally sitting here watching someone pretty much unalive themselves slowly for my entertainment. And although, you know, we can't control someone turning on a camera, you know, and recording. If they're recording it, like, you don't have anything to do with that. But it's just like, do we not have a moment where we're like, I probably shouldn't be watching this. This is probably not good, you know?
Just because I'm fat, that doesn't invalidate the things that I say.
She died.
You ready to get supersized?
She died too.
Today I got the big Fruit Loop.
He's dead. Join me on my Fat Positive radio show, which didn't last long because she died.
And I'm not ignorant to the fact that life happens. And a lot of the times people don't just start off obese. Like, naturally, it's a progressive thing over time. And overeating, or the habit of overeating or finding comfort in food, it's something that can be triggered by something traumatic that happened. It could be triggered by things that we go through. It could be triggered by a lot of things. Life happens. Life is ugly. Life is messy. And I understand all those things. Like I said, I had a moment where I was in the house and I was just sitting and I was eating and it felt good. And that mental barrier that I had to cross to get myself back in the gym before I'm here now where I'm consistent. Like, now I go to the gym every day, easy. But like for the first 6 months to 8 months of unlearning mental barriers and essentially changing all the habits of myself mentally and physically, it was hard, but I had to make a decision as to whether or not I'm okay with seeing the version of myself that I know I'm not okay with. I know the version of myself that I think about in 20 years doesn't look like this, or I can do something about it. I can deal with the struggles that come with trying to get better and then benefit from the perks later, or I can constantly keep myself in a state of complacency. That was my choice. Those were my decisions. And I made a choice to be fine. I did. And I look so good. I do. I do look good. When we become a society that worships how we feel about something, which we slowly have become, and we give attention to every single feeling that we have because we're giving power to an emotion and our only solution is to eat. When we start to worship our feelings in this way where we give them that much power to completely just change how you even live life and how you do everyday things, that lack of emotional control, it's very dangerous. And although eating food is one coping mechanisms for certain things, there's a lot of different ways people have vices. And unfortunately, obesity is one of those vices that you wear. Like someone walking down the street can't tell that this is a drug. Well, let me not say that. That this person might be addicted to partying. They might be addicted to drinking. They might be addicted to smoking weed. Obesity or the addiction of food is one of those wearable vices that you're dealing with something internally that's causing you to overeat, and now you're having to deal with the outward perceptions of people demonizing you for having traumas and experiences, and then you dealing with that from food. Like it's very dark when you think about it, and I do empathize. Like I just want to make it very clear, like I'm not ignorant to these very real things. Like I'm not one of those people that are like, I'll just work out, like I mean, you can just work out, but I do try to understand how we get to where we get to instead of just trying to be like, just do that, just, you know? But you can never allow your feelings to control you. Or even if you have a moment of weakness where you allow your feelings to take a hold of you, always get yourself back out of that hole of pity, because that pity and that victim mindset will kill your joy. It will kill your joy. You are in control. You are in control of the hand that puts the food in your mouth. You are in control of the hand that over portionalizes that plate. You are in control of the fingers that orders double everything. You are in control of the legs that you choose not to utilize to make yourself mobile and do little things every day to get yourself active. You're in control of those legs.
So I work at a restaurant. I just got off my shift. And if there's one thing that you'll recognize from working in a restaurant, it's that people who are obese and are twice the size of a regular person, it's not just a matter of hormones and lifestyle factors. They really do just eat twice as much food as a regular person. A lot of times obese people will eat in secret, and so you won't really see it as much, and you will think that like maybe they just have some sort of hormonal thing, maybe they just have a genetic predisposition to being overweight. And while that is the case, people have different metabolisms. Obese people just have a tendency to eat abnormally large amounts of food. People are just getting really, really fat. And this is coming from someone who used to be like 40, 50 pounds overweight all through my childhood. I didn't lose it until I was like 19, 20 years old. But it's just one thing that I don't think gets talked about enough. I think people always try and focus on, oh, they are just lazy, they don't exercise, or they have some hormonal thing, they've got a genetic condition that causes them to gain weight, they have this, they have that. Guys, they just eat too much food.
Because money can't be it. Like I know, unhealthy food can be linked to people's ability to afford healthier foods, because healthy food is not cheap. But food today is very expensive. Even the cheap food, nothing is cheap. And I think because we villainize the idea of fitness and we've correlated people who take an investment in their health, we villainize those people for being obsessed with a certain image, when in fact, a lot of those people are some of the most mentally strong people you will ever meet. Some people kind of just go to the gym just to go to the gym, but a lot of the people that I've met through the gym and my journey through the gym have been some of the most mentally strong people ever, because it is not easy being fit. It is not easy getting healthy. That's just hard, especially in today's climate where it's just easy to kind of go get McDonald's but easy doesn't get you the life that you want. Easy doesn't get you the quality of life that you do deserve. And you going through something or you dealing with something is not a justification to give up on yourself in a way where you justify your quality of life going down. It's not enough.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm very scared of being fat. Very, very scared. Why would I want to be fat? Why does anyone want to be fat? Being fat doesn't look good. I don't understand. But I would never treat anyone different based on how they look or their size or whatever. But yes, I'm very scared of being fat. This is why I stay in the gym, stay doing my daily walks. I eat well. I don't want to be fat. Apart from it not looking good, there's a lot of health complications tied to being fat, so why would anyone want that? So yes, I will definitely encourage people to not get fat. I will forever do that because it's just not healthy, it's not cute, you lose confidence. Stay in the gym, stay healthy. I don't understand what's wrong with promoting that. Let's not normalize being fat. It is not healthy. We have one life. Make the most of it. Look your best, feel your best. We are not young for long. This is when we have the most energy, so let's utilize that. I'm sure you guys know, as you get older, as you get into your 30s, it is so much harder to shift the weight. Don't wait until your 30s to start losing weight. Just don't do that.
So while body positivity is important, it's also crucial to promote a balanced approach where self-acceptance coexists with a focus in healthy habits. And healthy habits does not mean dramatic. And encouraging people to take care of their bodies through diet, exercise, and mental wellness, it should be a priority. We should want that. It's not a bad thing to say, hey, you're unhealthy. You are unhealthy. And then the same way someone's addicted to weed or something, you could say, hey, that's unhealthy. If someone's addicted to drinking, hey, that's unhealthy. Someone's addicted to shopping, hey, that's unhealthy. Someone's big as heck because you know they're not eating well, hey, that's unhealthy. Like, it's fine. Like, people are not your enemy sometimes. Sometimes people are just being honest. That's okay. That is okay. It's okay. At the core of the health conversation is personal responsibility, right? That's pretty much all that I just said. While it's important to promote acceptance and kindness to those around us, I'm not saying go outside and just unprovoked call people big. Oh my God, y'all. Be normal. Like, I don't think we should just all go outside and be like, oh, you're fat. Oh, you're fat. But it's also okay not to encourage people's unhealthy habits. And we do need to give people around us grace because, like I said, people don't just start off obese. It's usually triggered by something. We also need to acknowledge that for most people, weight and health are within their control. And I admire people like Lizzo for taking the initiative, even though she knows it was going to probably be a shot at her brand, for taking the initiative to do better for herself, to get healthy, to work out, to lose weight. Because at some point we have to be real with ourselves that, hey, even though I love how I look regardless of my size, it's not healthy. The body is not built to hold a lot of weight. It can, but it's not healthy and it's not built to. So I definitely admire women like Lizzo. I admire women who just get in the gym, who just get better for themselves, you know? Take control of your life. Take control of your health. Take control of your weight. Take control of your life. You are in control of all of it. So just to wrap it all up, I promise you I'm done. It is very clear that the body positivity has done a lot of good for specifically women all over the world, and it has been a mostly positive thing. It fosters inclusivity, like I said, and self-acceptance and self-love, and just accepting that our bodies aren't all a monolith and we're not all gonna look like this. We come in different shapes, sizes, tones, curves, and all those different things. Body positivity to me is about accepting your body for the things that you cannot change and making the decision to adjust or change the things that are within your control that is in the best interest of your health. Health cannot be overlooked, and personal responsibility has to be a part of the conversation. And it's also unrealistic, and it can be harmful to pressure brands into expanding their offerings if it conflicts with their core identity as well as their mission. We now live in a world where there's quite literally a brand that caters to everybody, and I feel like that's something that is worth celebrating. We've come a long way, but we should respect the integrity of the companies that choose to focus on specific demographics. Everybody needs a voice. Everybody needs a brand that represents their beliefs, their lifestyle. Like, everybody needs someone, you know? And not every brand should cater to everyone. And that is okay. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I'm not going to be gone for a month again. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you made it this far, literally subscribe. Like, let's be for real. You love it here. You love it here. You know you do. Just subscribe. Be a part of the family. And I will see you guys in my next video.
I've been all in my phone, I got options, and I don't wanna tell you to drop it, but I don't wanna